This has been evident for quite some time now, but it's clear as day now that Tipster, the goth mommy Rizzler, has got to be the most embarrassing person to grace the commentary scene. And I mean that. There may be a bunch of low sub commentary Andes like me, or you, yes you, whoever else is watching this, or some other spurgs out in the scene who post maybe once or twice every other month, but regardless of how trash their content may be, or how envious they may be of other YouTubers, they still pale in comparison when you put them next to Tipster. Tipster is on an entirely different level of humiliation, and so unworthy of respect, it seriously makes me question if he would make a good case study for a psych university. Someone has to have such an extreme tolerance to shame to behave and present themselves on the internet the way Tipster does, and I'm not even exaggerating. Some of you may be wondering by now, what is making me finally make a Tipster video? Why have I finally caved in on someone who is so irrelevant to talk about? And why am I finally wasting my breath talking about someone who at this point is performing worse than me at the YouTube game? Shouldn't I be talking about someone or something more relevant to milk views? Well, my answer to all of that, my rizful goated Sigma viewers, is I need to make an example out of someone to highlight a bigger issue that involves and encapsulates a wide variety of people on the internet. Someone who is a little bit more recognizable than the Twitter spurgs that I'm going to be talking about today. So let me begin with something recent. Tipster is the biggest example of pretending to be virtuous for the sake of having people in your corner. The biggest example of virtue signaling and wrong think sniping for the sake of appealing to a specific audience, for the sake of appealing to people who fall in line with their political views. You know exactly the type of people I'm talking about. And if you don't understand, allow me to present an example. This particular example I talked about in my most recent Keffals video at the time of releasing this video, but I may as well talk about it again to emphasize just how bad and backwards this behavior can really be. So, not too long ago, Mutahar released a very good Keffals deconstruction video where he highlights years of lies, manipulation, conniving behavior in what we can essentially call wire fraud, as well as endangering minors by endorsing an HRT service that sold homebrew estrogen. Instead of people actually watching the video, instead of people informing themselves on behavior that ultimately defrauded her fans, her manipulating and endangering minors, her lies about how the money was used, such as spending it on drugs and gaming equipment, instead of people understanding that what she did was genuinely wrong, people just looked at the thumbnail, assumed Mutahar was an alt-right Nazi, and then brushed the video away entirely under the assumption that it was just a transphobic hit piece. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but bear with me. People bullied, made ludicrous claims, lied, and harassed those around Mutahar, including his girlfriend and thumbnail artist. They even went and successfully bullied the thumbnail artist off the site under the guise that it was all transphobic and straight up smeared them in an attempt to make them appear as bad, moralist, heartless people. This moron, Keffals, who makes terrible content by the way, I dog walk you in commentary every day of the week, and yes, this is a direct call out, look at the tweet he made, straight up heartless over what is honestly absolutely nothing. Not to mention, people, including Keffals, are genuinely calling Mutahar an alt-right neo-Nazi, and Tipster even alluded to this himself in this tweet here. All of that being said, put it in a little capsule, condense everything that I just told you into a pill, and swallow it, because this is where we get into Tipster. Tipster, for the longest time, has disavowed the commentary community because of an idiotic line of logic that he doesn't even follow himself. He disavowed the commentary community because he thought that the community was too toxic, and people were quick to attack others as well as make false claims against them just because of prejudice or because they didn't like them, that he didn't like drama, baseless attacks, toxicity, etc. There's a lot more to this, obviously, but that's the simplest and shortest story you need to know for the moment. Well, let me make it abundantly clear, as if it wasn't already obvious. Tipster is full of shit, because the community he went to and aligned with himself with is either just as bad or significantly worse because they do exactly what he complained about, but to a much more disgusting extent. Stone Toss retweeted Mutahar's video announcement on Twitter, and Tipster immediately reposted this and said, "Congrats, Mutahar, a literal Nazi retweeted you." As if, for whatever reason, this signifies the moral standing of Mutahar or what his thought process is, or even the contents of the video. You can't control who retweets you or likes the stuff that you do. Just because someone does, it isn't representative of what you are at your core. So using Tipster's logic, if both you and Hitler liked hamburgers, should I then allude to the fact you agree with a Nazi? Why even make the comparison or suggestion, right? It's unfair. This is the type of stuff that Tipster complains about all the time, yet he doesn't even have the mental capacity to follow his own line of logic. Let's rewind a bit, back to the Vosh drama when his lolly folder was exposed. It is only morally right to assume that someone is a weirdo, maybe not a pedo, but a gross weirdo if they have possession of R34 lolly, which he did. Tipster had to die on this hill because by his own defenses, just because it is drawn or because it looks young doesn't mean that the concept itself is pedophilic or young in actuality. You know, the whole, actually, this girl is actually 1,000 years old, How is this relevant? Keffals tried defending Vosh on this hill as well and then was immediately lambasted by others, including Ethan Klein, for defending this behavior, because Keffals complained about the fact that she was now being pedo-jacketed for defending Vosh.
You will not win on Lolly Hill. Keffals, what did you have to say? It shouldn't be acceptable for people who are supposedly leftist or progressive to pedo-jacket trans people. First of all,
Whoa.
I didn't say anything about trans people, and the fact that you even brought that up in this conversation is really fucked. Like, why are you... I feel like she's using her trans identity to run defense for a very valid criticism. I didn't say shit about trans people, and I would never. That's a position that I loathe.
Tipster, of course, chimed in, and he was hit with the exact same scrutiny from Ethan for his defense, which led to Tipster being incredibly offended after Ethan said, "If the jacket fits, you must not acquit." So Tipster hates when people receive scrutiny by association with someone else, even if you don't necessarily align the same way. Oh, what a shocker. Yet we see Tipster do this to Mutahar, backwards and hypocritical much. And we can see this displayed abundantly by Tipster almost significantly more than anyone else on this scene. As a matter of fact, I can't think of anyone else who falls into this more than the Tip himself. Something else that I want to touch on is that Tipster is so brainwashed by this new line of virtue that he now follows that he can't even begin to comprehend morality or nuance despite how much he preaches morals. In leaked messages, Tipster was confronted about his support for Keffals and was asked an extreme hypothetical. The hypothetical in question was if Tipster would disavow and turn against Keffals if for whatever reason she were to R-word someone. Instead of simply saying, "Yeah, that's disgusting behavior, I would absolutely admonish someone who did something so foul," he deflected it entirely and said he preferred not to think about quote-unquote friends in that way, and that it would be something he tackled if it ever got to that point. And this just goes to show how, despite how awful the people he aligns himself with can be, how much worse they are than the people he's vehemently against. For whatever fucking reason, he always has to defend these individuals and hold them to such a high pedestal in comparison to people he simply disagrees with. When it comes to everyone else, however, no matter how reasonable they may be, such as this Twitter user here, Tipster is as rabid as he claims other people are. Ironically, Tipster here is complaining about people giving him shit because they're just sexually deprived incels. But honestly, you can't be saying something like this when you have an audio file of Keffals saying this disgusting shit.
The franchise that invented the term jiggle physics. Oh shit! Okay, we love Gooner games.
Oh, fuck, I'm getting so horny. Thank you, Daddy. I'll shut up.
We love us some Gooner games around here, okay?
It's evident that Tipster is also sexually deprived because if he wasn't, he wouldn't be attempting to flirt with, sext, or talk to just about anything resembling a woman. That's not a joke either, but most people who are still watching Tipster deconstruction videos already know that, so I will not elaborate further. My main issue with Tipster, and probably everyone else's too, is that Tipster is honestly like, if I had to put it into words, he's like a slimy backwards chameleon, an imposter, someone that will blend into, malleate into, or pretend to be something he really isn't for the sake of virtue and good boy points. It's unfortunate, however, that instead of this play making Tipster more relevant like other political grifters who have done the same, it has only sunk Tipster into a pit of irrelevancy. You search up his channel and it doesn't even show up unless you use specific keywords. You look at his views and uploads and he is hardly breaking 1% of his subscribers and views. This is horrible audience retention. At this rate, he'll be scrubbed from relevancy soon enough, and the people who associate with him won't associate with him anymore. The reason being is that these people, including Keffals, love relevancy. They love being in the spotlight. Keffals herself has complained on multiple occasions that she hated burning bridges that could have furthered her career, but she did anyways because she thought the people she burned those bridges for could have propelled her career, but only burned her instead. Anyways, Tipster's personality online is extremely reflective of this behavior, as he is constantly trying to pull this virtuous personality, but then when contested on anything, he simply falls apart.
That Vosh is consuming lolly, right?
I mean, if he downloaded it, like, I
Yes,
guess you
and
could say that, but
specifically in that
what
manner.
my thing is like, did he know? That's my thing.
Okay, as I said before, right? One of the photos was literally lost media. Like it was lost media. Like you would have to go
But I don't
through
understand how
extra
that's even
links.
like relevant, whether it's lolly or
No,
not.
no,
Like,
no,
how
no,
is
no,
it
no, no.
relevant that it's
It's
lost media?
no, it's relevant because it's supposed to indicate a degree of effort to the point where you can no longer trust the narrative that it is downloaded accidentally, right? You would have to go out of your way in order to go looking for it. And not only that, there's an additional point that, again, the folder with the
This seems
lolly
like a
picture
real
sticking out.
stretch. In my opinion, this seems like a real
What?
stretch. And it seems
Wait,
like we're
why?
really like going in circles here. Like you feel the way you feel about it, and that's fine. But I'm giving you like the logic that I had when I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on it. And it just seems like you don't like my opinion, which is fine. You don't like my opinion, totally fine. But
No,
like
no,
that's
it's
where I
not
stand on
about
it.
your opinion. No, it's not
I
about your
didn't
opinion
even
whatsoever.
come here to talk about like this stupid shit, all right? Like I came here for a completely different conversation.
Yeah, that's fair
Like
enough. Which
I
is
didn't even want to talk
okay.
about this stupid Voss shit anymore.
Wait,
Like it's
wait,
so
is
like
it
I think
okay?
what's really
That's fair.
annoying to
That's
me
fair.
is like
That's fair.
people
Wait,
misrepresent like what I say is me defending Lolly, and I'm not defending like Lolly, okay? Like I think it's like, yeah, it's really fucked up that some people like
oh,
engage with this shit for sure, but like I
I'm
don't
not
defend this
saying you're
shit.
defending Lolly, right? I'm saying you're defending the sweeping.
Look,
That's
Keldos,
what
I
I'm.
told you it was a bad idea for me to come on this fucking show, and like I'm out of here. Peace.
Wait, Tipster, you could have. Oh my god, I told him that if he didn't want to talk, he could just tell me anytime. Like, what the dude?
Because he doesn't have the intelligence or knowledge to shield his beliefs. He simply parrots talking points from people around him. He has no talent in anything except regurgitating other people's rhetorics. This tweet is a perfect example of how much he especially cares for virtue signaling in specific. When all the worst people on the internet are cheering you on, you really should start to question how virtuous your actions really are. My response to this is that why should you care about being perceived as virtuous? Why should you care about questioning how virtuous your actions are? Why does it matter? Logically, philosophically, virtue is something that you hold on to, something that you do not as something performative, not as something to be perceived by others, but as something you do out of integrity, something you do because morally you understand that something is right or wrong, not something for people to look at you in awe for. That's what any rational human being understands, but Tipster and the people in his community of super far left individuals, not necessarily fans of him, not that he has any left, or Keffals, but people that are like him or align the same way he does, don't grasp this. All they care about is how people perceive their intentions, how agreeable their actions are, and there's plenty of examples of this from Tipster himself and people defending Keffals from Mutahar's new video without ever actually watching or being fans of Keffals. They just want to be a part of the crowd that they think looks at them as being righteous and politically correct. We see this continuously. He retweets posts talking about things that are factually incorrect because he never bothered to actually do his own research, or he lets himself be swayed in the direction people want him to go without thinking critically for a moment. Look at this interaction between these two idiots. Tipster retweeted this post implying that Mutahar got his reporting wrong because he implied that a person was groomed when that was not the case at all. Why would someone do this if they actually watched the video? Why would someone do this if they were actually informed? It's because Tipster is not informed, and he is not actually interested in these politics or issues. All he cares about is getting the same attention that the rest of these poor, pathetic losers receive. He cares about the attention he'll receive from potential goth mommies who wouldn't give a second of their time to even look in his direction. That's what any one of these losers do it for. As it turns out, this individual that Tipster keeps retweeting isn't even actually informed at all. They didn't watch the video, and they aren't even fans of Keffals at all or watch her either. They're just frauds wanting to, again, get attention for aligning with righteousness and political correctness. These same people that Tipster endorses are also the same people that lie, willingly make themselves targets to poison wells, harass, insult, and bully those they disagree with because they consider themselves to be so much more superior under zero actual basis, not to mention the lies they make just to prove a point that doesn't actually exist, such as calling Mutahar's girlfriend a neo-Nazi when that's further from the fucking case. All in all, these are the reasons why Tipster's career has crumbled. These are the reasons why Tipster will continue to drop in relevancy to the point where he will have nothing left to offer for these individuals. Because he doesn't have a personality. He's not even a person on this platform. He's a puppet that is controlled by the views of those he thinks he can get attention from. And soon enough, he won't even have Keffals keeping him relevant because, as we all know, these people are backstabbing frauds who are quick to throw you under the bus and cut ties with you for insignificant arguments made out of thin air. Such is the case with Brianna Wu, someone these people apparently had considered their friend but then plotted to burn the bridge with, all because of petty political disagreements. These are the people Tipster aligns with. This is what Tipster is hoping to continue his career with. With all of this being the case, it's more than safe to say that Tipster might be someone we won't remember in a soon-to-be future, as he is left behind by everyone and everything he pretended to care about. It's not like his channel can make a comeback from the poor state he's left it at, so it's safe to say, goodbye, Tipster. You won't be missed, not even by the people you thought were your friends. That's all I got for today. Later.